everyone, this is the online revision for our business econs midterm test that's happening soon. Now, this is not meant to reteach all the topics or to provide hints of what's coming out. Yeah, it's meant to recap. It's meant to review what we have done in the past term. Basically, all that we have taught you will come out in some way or other. Okay, so hopefully you're progressing well in the revision, and this video is going to help you. If you want detailed lessons, we have the past topics videos that you can always go and listen to it again. All right, let's begin. Now, one of the first things that we did was to look at what is economics. Okay, so we studied the theory of scarcity. All right, that's why we need to study econs, because things are not enough, which is why we got to make a choice. All right, and choice will often incur costs. We also studied the topic on opportunity cost, which is the second best alternative that we're going to give up. Okay, when we review all these theories, as well as a differentiation of what is microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, micro are the small things, small players like the consumer, like the firm, like the price of one good. Macro are general indicators, national indicators. Okay. Now, we also studied the 5 factors of production: land, labor, physical capital, human capital, entrepreneurship. Now, you should know all these by now. We have gone through many of these in the tutorial. Now, one of the things that students often have difficulty is differentiating between what is a movement and a shift. Now, a movement is a description of our behavior, all right, dictated by the law of demand. Cheaper things, we buy more. Expensive things, we buy less. Okay, so this is shown by a movement on a demand curve. In this case, the demand curve. Okay, so we call this a change in quantity demanded, because when we move along the demand curve from one point to the other, the value on Q will change. Okay, so we call this a change in quantity demanded. A shift is caused by a change in demand, right? Shifting to the left, D2, or shifting to the right, D1. Left is less, right is more. Okay, now shift is caused by non-price determinants. Now, what we will revisit them soon. Non-price determinants meaning the price don't change, but people buy more or buy less. Okay, and we describe this kind of behavior by a change in demand. All right, so don't mix up between the two. Movement, all right, on one single curve, we call it change in quantity demanded. A shift from one curve to another, D to D2 or D1, is caused by non-price determinants, and we describe this as a change in demand. Okay, don't mix up. Now, supply curve is different from demand curve as it is upward sloping. Cheaper things, sellers not so willing to sell. Expensive, they would like to sell more. Okay, now again, when we talk about movement, it's a movement on one singular curve. Okay, this is meant to show sellers' behavior. Cheaper things, not interested to sell. Higher price things, they are more interested to sell. Okay, now when there's a movement caused by a change in the price of the good, we call this a change in quantity supplied, because the value at Q will change when we move up and down one singular curve. Now, when there's a shift, right? Shift to the left, that means less. Supply less from S to S2, shift to the left. Shift to the right means you produce more, S to S1. Okay, this is called a change in supply. Okay, it's represented by shifting of the curve, and this is caused by non-price determinants again. The price of the good didn't change, but producers want to produce more or less. Now, this is a checklist to show you how you can approach a demand and supply question. Now, when there's a question on demand and supply, first you identify the product that the question is asking you. Okay, then check, did the price of the product change? Okay, now it's the same product, all right, that the question is asking you, not another product. Okay, it's the same product. So did the price of the product change? Now, if yes, then it has to be represented by a movement on either the demand or supply curve. Usually the question will specify. Okay. Now that means that there'll be a change in either quantity demanded if it's on the demand curve or quantity supplied on the supply curve. Okay. Now if the price of the product that the question is asking did not change, then it must be a shift. Okay. Now then you must differentiate whether is there a change in demand or change in supply. Now if you look at here, I have a summary table on what are the non-price determinant of demand and non-price determinant of supply. And you can see that it's very different. Okay, by now you would know that it's very different. On the demand side, you have factors like change in income, change in population, population size, taste and preferences, expectations, and so on. All this we have done pretty extensively in the tutorial. Okay, if you need to look at them again, please refer to your tutorial notes. Okay, or there could be a change in the price of related goods like complements and substitutes. Okay, if something becomes cheaper and we buy more of that with other things as well, that will be a complementary relationship. Vice versa will be substitutes. Okay, for the non-price determinant of supply, it usually involves cost of production. Okay, like wages, raw materials, ingredients. Okay, and sometimes there's an improvement in technology in the production of the good. All right, or there could be a change in number of suppliers. Okay. Now, it's very important that you must be able to differentiate and know by heart what causes your demand curve to shift and what causes your supply curve to shift. Okay? After shifting, all right, you must note the change in equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. All right? So there are plenty of practices that we did in the tutorial. Revisit them again. Okay? Make sure you can match which event will shift which curve. Is if it is about a change in demand and supply. All right. Now next on elasticity. Now we studied three different forms of elasticities: price elasticity, income elasticity, and cross elasticity. Now you must know what do they measure. Okay. Price elasticity EP measures the price elasticity of demand for that product, whether it's elastic or inelastic. Okay, whether how much more people buy when it's cheaper or how much less people buy when it's more expensive. Okay, it measures the price elasticity of demand. Okay, now income elasticity can tell us what kind of good it is. Okay, is this normal or inferior? If it's normal, is it normal necessity or normal luxury? Okay, so we essentially have three different types of good that we can conclude. Is it a normal necessity, normal luxury, or an inferior good? Okay? And cross elasticity is meant to calculate or to show us whether the good is a substitute with another or a complement with another. Okay, so it measures the relationship of two goods. Okay, so it can be either a substitute or complement. Now, you must know how to derive the type of elasticity and what the answer means when you do a calculation. Now for EP, we ignore the minus sign. Okay, we just need the ratio. Alright, because all the answer will come with a minus sign because law of demand is price goes up, quantity demanded comes down. So it's always moving in opposite directions. Okay, so we ignore the minus sign. So you ignore the minus sign when you're using the table as well. Okay, so we look at the ratio. Alright, if it's more than 1, it's elastic. Less than 1, inelastic. Okay, ignore the minus sign. Income elasticity, we need to check for plus minus. Okay, if it is a plus, it's a normal good. Okay, then we need to look for the ratio, whether it is a necessity or luxury. Alright, if it's a minus, of course, it's inferior. Okay, now for cross elasticity, we need to check the plus minus sign. Okay, and just ignore the ratio. Now, you must know the tables by heart. Okay, if I give you a EP ratio, you must know what it represents and what it means. Okay, similarly, when I give you, if you calculate a income elasticity ratio, you must know what kind of good is telling us. So similarly for cross elasticity. Okay, again we have enough practices in the tutorial as well as some practices in the past year papers. So go and take a look at them and make sure you remember, okay, what these three types of elasticity measure. Of the three different types of elasticity, EP, price elasticity, goes the furthest. At least in our syllabus, it's like that. Now, other than knowing how to calculate and knowing what the answer means or represent, you must know how to draw the diagrams for demand curve with various elasticity. Now, these are given in your notes. Go and take a look at them. Okay. Now, you must also know how to apply seller strategy. So if you know that the price elasticity for a certain product is elastic, what do you do? If it's inelastic, what do you do? All right, you must be able to show with the diagram what should you do when you know that the price elasticity for a product is in a certain way. For example, we have this oil example in our tutorial where oil is inelastic. So what did the sellers do? Okay, how did they manage to gain total revenue? All right, from varying their price, knowing that the consumer had a certain type of price elasticity. Okay, so you must be able to understand seller strategy and how to draw the diagram to show how the seller can gain by adjusting the price, knowing what kind of price elasticity the consumer has. Okay. Now next we did output and cost. Now we mentioned that in output and cost we are differentiating the time period into short run and long run. Okay, short run is a short period of time, long run is a long period of time. Okay, short run is when there's at least one fixed factor present in the production of goods and services. Long run, all factors are variable. In the long run, only one curve is represented by the long run average cost curve, where we talk about why your long run average cost curve, LRAC, will go down initially because of economies of scale, and then later it will rise because of diseconomies of scale. Okay, in the short run, because of this fixed factor, we had law of diminishing returns. Okay, we have gone through extensively in the lecture and also in the tutorial explaining what this is. Okay, how do you show the law of diminishing returns on the diagram? We use the MP curve to do that. Okay, now we also talk about short run cost concepts. Now for your short run cost concepts, okay, just remember, because there's a fixed factor there, you always have fixed cost in the short run. Okay, now cost is always fixed plus variable. Okay, now this doesn't matter whether it is average cost or total cost. So it works both ways, whether it's average or total. Okay, so if it's average cost, that means per unit, average cost will be average fixed plus average variable. All right, if it's total cost is equals to total fixed plus total variable. So cost is always fixed plus variable. Now in the tutorial, we also calculated how to get average from total and total to average. Okay, just times or divide by quantity or output. Okay, now we also had this discussion on marginal cost. Okay, now marginal is a mathematical representation of the next one, the next incremental, the next extra. All right, how much does it cost in this sense when I produce one more unit? Okay, we call it marginal cost. Marginal cost means the additional cost of producing the next unit. So it's always the incremental additional, the extra. How much is it? Okay, so we also calculated marginal cost in the table in the tutorial. Okay, so remember all these formulas. Okay, so cost in the short run is always fixed plus variable. You can calculate by adding up fixed plus variable, whether in average form or total form. You can also find average from total and total to average by using times or divide according to the quantity. All right. Now, lastly, we went through the 4 different types of market structure. Perfect com, okay, the idealistic, unrealistic one. Okay, monocom, oligopoly, and monopoly. Okay, from many firms to one firm, from small share of the market to entire market, the different types of goods that they produce, and whether they can enter the market freely or not. Okay, so these are the basic characteristics of the 4 market structures that we've gone through in the last lecture. Alright, that's all for me for now. So make sure you look through your tutorial notes again, and look at the past year questions and look at the videos for different topics if you are not sure about them. Alright? So good luck for your midterm test. I see you guys next term. Bye.